Hey, this is DeFi Dev, and today I am going to explain the CIG-USD market that just launched on DYDX and the attack that just happened. On the left screen, we have the Solana address that essentially caused the pump and dump, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. And on the right side over here, we have the DYDX address that is purchasing and making profit from this trade. So before we dive in to see exactly what happened and how this attack played through, I have decided to essentially write down all the secret addresses that he uses, their noble addresses, their DYDX address, and their SOL address. And as you can see here, they are color coded, so that way when you see the sender and receiver, you know exactly what the attacker is trying to do here. And I also broke this up into a timeline of when exactly the pump and dump happened. So as you can see here, I have color coded the first pump, which is yellow. And as you can see here on the DYDX trades on the right side, these are all the trades that happened during the first pump and dump. And over here, I have another color for the second pump and dump, and so forth. And as of this time, there was actually another pump and dump that happened. So just keep this in mind. As of this recording, we have already 4 instances where this attacker has made profit. I want to explain the account side. That is essentially a DYDX trader. So if we go to the third sheet right here, DYDX traders, we have about, 10 accounts, 2 of which I have labeled here, attacker 1, attacker 1A, and attacker 2. These are 2 DYDX addresses. However, using the first address, he uses 2 different subaccounts to trade SIG. Then we also have the vault that was deployed when this market was launched. We also have 3 winners here that made profit, and we have 4 victims here. And as of this time of recording, this victim is just new, and they have lost about $8,300. So now let's go to the transfers. All I did here was use the DYDX client, the Python client, and view the attackers, both their addresses, their DYDX addresses, and just filtered it by the time. So as you can see, these are color coded as well, just to see what exactly they were doing during each cycle of the pump and dump. So let's actually talk about how the account was actually funded. So 2 days before the first pump and dump, this noble address, noble1, receives $20.1 thousand from secret address 1. So essentially he is moving funds, essentially a black box, to the noble address. The reason he does this is obviously to hide the fact of where the funds are coming from. And then 2 days later, he receives another $25,000 from this same secret account over here. As you can see, secret 1 sends money to his noble 1 address. Okay, then he just sends $25,000 to his base account, but we will see later that he brings it back. Now this is actually where he starts creating his account. He funds his DYDX account, the attacker 1 address right here, attacker 1 address with $10, and we could verify this using the DYDX endpoint. As you can see here, he receives it at the same time, $10. Now, if you're wondering why is it only $8.75, it's because when you first create your DYDX account, some of those funds are actually reserved for fees later on whenever you're creating your sub accounts or launching new markets. So just know that he did in fact receive the $10. Now that he has money in his account, we can actually see that he transfers more money, upwards of $12,000, $12,500 to his DYDX account. And we have this on chain. And the reason for this is because he is going to launch the SIG market. How much do you need to actually deploy a new launchable market? $10,000, which is exactly what he does at a few minutes later. As you can see here, he deposits 12,500 and it is immediately used to deploy that subvault in the megavault. Okay. Now, as soon as that happens, what happens 5 minutes later? Well, the attacker immediately starts buying and having a long position on SIG, right? Who's he trading against? Well, the vault, because the vault is the only one that is providing liquidity. And as you can see here, I marked it as red so it could be much clearer about what's happening here. Over here, we have the amount of SIG that he purchases, the total, the exact price at which he purchases, the total value of that trade, the fee, the type of order it is, the liquidity, the amount bought, the total amount that he bought in SIG, and the total amount sold in SIG, and the total position of SIG that he has. So only when the position is 0 do we actually calculate the P&L, right? Which is later. But as you can see here, he immediately starts taking up all the liquidity from the vault. He keeps increasing his long position, as you can see here. He is increasing, and the vault happily takes that short position. And the attacker keeps increasing, and the vault is the one that's selling it to him. What happens a few minutes later is another DYDX trader comes into play. They are also a winner here too, and they also place a buy order. And who is he trading against? Well, the vault, right? And they also increase their position as well over here, and the attacker just keeps buying, and the vault just keeps selling and selling. As you can see here, they keep increasing their position all the way up to here. And this, here is where I want to stop and say what is happening on the real market, right? Not on DYDX, but on the real market, the SIG market. One thing to mention is that this attacker at around 732 is essentially already using over 10x leverage, because you have to remember, when he deposits money at around the same time, his total equity is only 2,500. That $10,000 that he used to essentially launch the SIG market is already transferred to the megavault. Okay, so when he is buying a more and more SIG, his position is increasing. He is using more leverage at exactly around this time, right? When he's already above 10x leverage is when the Solana address starts buying SIG on the open market. Okay, so this Solana address, as you can see here from Dex Screener, is buying more and more SIG. This trader or this attacker is increasing his possession more and more. Meanwhile, this Solana address keeps buying SIG on the open market. And this trader is so confident of his trade all the way up to this point, right? As you can see here, he has about almost 800,000 SIG in his account already. He is so confident that he actually deposits more money. As you can see right here, 741, he deposits another $5,000 to his DYDX account. And he keeps buying and buying and buying against who? The vault. And as you can see here on the left side, this Solana address keeps buying as well. And he keeps buying and buying and buying, increasing his position until finally what happens? Well, let me tell you what happens. As you can see here, the attacker has well above 1.3 million SIG. Well, here, the price of SIG on the open market has already increased 40%, right? It has increased a lot. So what happens here? Well, the vault needs to close its positions. How does it do it? Well, it's deleverage. And who does it close its position against? Well, attacker 1 and winner 3. Remember, winner 3 placed a trade a while ago, but attacker 1 just kept increasing their position more and more, and essentially the vault loses over 9,988. It's closed out. Attacker 1 gets a profit of $9,963, and winner 3 makes $17. Now that the attacker has a large profit and his positions are closed, what does this attacker do? Does he finish? No, he does not. In fact, what he does around the same time, he actually withdraws $10,000. Okay, he withdraws that $10,000 to his Noble account. Okay, so around 7:54, as you can see here, 8, he withdraws $10,000 from his DYDX account to his original Noble account. And what he does there is transfers Noble 1 from his Noble 1 address to a new Noble 2 address. Okay? And what does he do there? Well, he actually sends that money that he just sent to a new DYDX account. And we have proof of this right here on DYDX. Using a new address, they deposit some funds. Okay? They're not done yet. Let's go back. And what he actually does is actually places a sell, okay? Because he's going to short this. And who does he short against? Because remember, the mega bell is out. It's completely out. There's no more people here to trade on the first pump and dump. And as you can see here, when he makes that sell order at around the same price, he begins selling and selling SIG. Okay, and who does he trade against? Well, he trades essentially against himself. As you can see here, he trades against himself. So using his first DYDX, he takes a short position. Attacker 2, which is essentially him, the other DYDX address, takes on that position, and attacker 2 loses money from this, and it essentially goes to that DYDX account. Okay, so I was thinking about this, like, what would be the reason to do this? Was he trying to find more liquidity? Because at this point, we already have well above $150,000 in volume for SIG in this market. And if you know anything about DYDX and their isolated markets, you know that a market that just recently launched with this much volume is pretty rare. The only time I remember an isolated market having 6 figures of volume very close to its launch date is the Trump win, the prediction market. So my guess is that he was either probably looking for more liquidity to take on, or just trying to bring the value up of the volume to DYDX to attract more traders to come in and place their bids and asks. Okay, so that's essentially the first pump and dump here. And as you can see in the Solana address at around the same price or the same time, he essentially dumps all his SIG. I wanted to give a quick update on the whole attack on SIG on DYDX and just say that I am going to be splitting this into multiple parts. I didn't expect the explanation of the first pump and dump to be over 10 minutes, so please bear with me as I try to explain the rest of the pumps, because that is when the attacker essentially makes more money. So just bear with me, and hopefully this video explained exactly how the attacker was funded, how they were able to pump up the price of SIG, and how they were actually able to make profit against the ball within a few minutes of creating their DYDX account.